Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're doing well today. So, today I realized that I haven't posted one of these full-on painting tutorials on the channel for a really long time now. And I remember that I had this footage of me painting this particular lure on the computer for, I don't know, 7 or 8 months now. And for some reason I never just got around to edit this together. So today is my day off from work, so I decided, you know what, I'm just going to slap this together for your enjoyment. And I hope you guys enjoyed this little solarbaits paint quickie. And let's just jump right into it, and I'm going to show you how to paint one of these badass looking musky lures. So I usually like to start with the background color, and I already painted that, which is the black here. And now I'm just going to start painting from the belly up. And we're going to start with this primer white, which is very kind of a thick form of white, because obviously we have black all over. So I need to make sure that it gets covered nicely. So the belly color for this lure is going to be mostly white, but I want to have some other colors there present, kind of like in the shift between the flank and the belly. And what better way to do that than using yellow? And this is one of my favorite color combos to use for these kind of paint jobs, besides maybe red and orange. Alright, next I'm going to paint the scales with this chrome paint. And I can still remember when I was making a batch of these musky crankbaits that I wanted to stand out a little bit from the rest of people who make musky crankbaits by making my own custom scale stencil for this. And this took hours to make, and if you're not patient enough to do that, I wouldn't recommend it, because it's a lot of work. Basically what I have here is a sheet of paper that is covered with tape from both sides, so that it kind of stays together a little bit better when you use this a lot. And it's a method that I've been using a lot recently, and making my own custom-made stencils. Maybe at some point I'm gonna be releasing a quick video how to make that. For some reason I didn't think of filming it at the moment when I was making this, but you know, oh well. There's always next time. Now that the scales are done, I can start adding some other colors, like this electric blue that I love using with my natural looking paint jobs. Now I'm going to fade out the scales so that they kind of blend into the belly a little bit more with this white. In my attempt to make this a bit more fishier look, I decided to add this Mission Model's pearl white to the belly, and kind of like blend that into the flank as well. The difference between this and, for example, Createx pearl white is that the Mission Model paint has a slightly bigger size of the flakes that they use in this one, and also I feel like this is a bit more opaque as a color. Now we're going to move on to the head details, and again I wanted to go all out with the details and try to stand out a little bit from the crowd. And I usually always start with the mouth and use that kind of as a reference point to everything else that's going to follow. And obviously I have to make sure that mouth on both sides are going to be equally at the same height and same angle, or else everything is going to look really funky, because like I said, this is kind of like a starting point or a reference point to everything else that's going to follow. Now that I have the mouth as my starting point in place, I can start painting the other head details, mainly the gill plates. And yeah, this is pretty straightforward, and exactly the same on each of the steps, where I just tape the stencil in place and then move gradually backwards. Now that I've finished painting the head, I will move on to the back, and obviously this is going to be a purple back shiner, so it's going to be purple. I wanted to darken the purple a little further, so I'm just going to spray a fine layer of black on top of it to achieve that goal. At this point I felt like the color was a little bit too muted, so I wanted to add some pizzazz to it, so I'm just going to add this color shift violet to it to kind of make it a little bit more interesting. Next I will paint the fins, and for this kind of a more natural looking color scheme that I'm going for with this lure, I want to make them look a bit more natural. So I chose a very light tone of like khaki brown that I think would fit the bill. For the fin rays, I'm gonna do them in black because I want them to kind of pop a little bit more from the background so that they are a little bit more defined and kind of like in your face. Sometimes that's not something that I would go for, but this time around that was exactly what I was thinking of doing, so I just went for it. Now I'm gonna do a blood effect that is a really nice way of actually kind of highlighting the gill plates a little bit more and make them look a little bit more three-dimensional. So when I was adding the blood effect, I kind of thought to myself, you know what, this actually looks really good. I wonder if I would kind of tone it down with the head details and add a little bit of different color to the head details. So I decided to add this aged white, which it's not going to overpower and highlight the details too much, and keep it very subtle and kind of, I think, a little bit more realistic. Although this is not an ultra realistic paint job by any means, but still, you know, something extra to add to make yourself kind of stand out from the rest. Because I think a lot of people actually add just normal, really opaque white, and for some reason, it doesn't really look good to me. I'm sorry to say, but I just don't like the look myself. You might think differently, and that's perfectly fine. And finally, what we have to do for this paint job is to add a mouth. And I wanted to have kind of a slightly opened mouth, so I just used some masking tape. This is actually electrician's tape. Wow, that's a hard word for me to say for some reason. Anyways, I decided to add that because it has kind of a little bit of stretch to it, so it's good to get around round objects and use it as a kind of a masking tape. And now we're finally done with the paint job. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like the video if you did, subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and if you want to support me on Patreon nowadays, you can do that. Link is in the description box. And I think I might want to do more of these painting tutorials in the future, so just let me know what you want me to paint and I'll see what I can do.